Alright, here we go. Just final setup, so we'll be ready in about 1 to 2 minutes. Just getting the final preparations. Gotta make sure everything's good to go. Hey, Javier, welcome. Alright. We are very, very close. We'll start very soon. Welcome, Javier. Alright, looks like we are good to go. And start. Perfect. Welcome to another live game show where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. We're going to kick it off with some balloon art. We're going to play Guess That Balloon. Fun way to kick off the show. The first person to correctly guess what I am making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to correctly guess what I'm making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. Guesses per balloon. 5 game show. I host and keep score. First person to correctly guess what I am making within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. A bear. A bear is correct. A bear is correct. The first person on my screen who said bear. Hey, BVR Tech. First person on my screen who said bear would be Javier. Javier, welcome to the scoreboard. Javier, you're a former champion, so you're entering the scoreboard as pink. Everybody who's entered in as purple, Richard Green, welcome back. Everyone who's entered in as purple hey Craig, welcome to the live game show where I host and keep score. You play by commenting. We're currently playing Guess That Balloon. We have multiple games to play throughout the stream. Multiple games to play. However, we have a Hall of Fame where if you earn 1 point, you are entered into the Hall of Fame. We currently have about 142 people in there. We have the Hall of Champions. One person enters the Hall of Champions every single stream. We have 35 people in the Hall of Champions. To enter the Hall of Champions, whoever has the most score who's not already in there will enter. Alright, what is it? First person to correctly guess what I've made. Within 2 guesses, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. B is correct. That is a point for Richard Green. Richard Green, welcome to the scoreboard. As a former champion, you are entered on the scoreboard as red. Everybody competing to enter the Hall of Champions is entered on the scoreboard as purple. Moving on to another round of Guess That Balloon. We're going to play a few more rounds of Guess That Balloon, and then we're going to move on to a few more card games. We have many games we play during this 2-hour stream. Richard Green, it's good to see you're back. Welcome. All right, the first person to correctly guess what I am making will get a point on the scoreboard. Always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for coming. I really do need to learn more balloons. First person to correctly guess what I have made will get a point on the scoreboard. It is not a snake. It is a swan. There's a first person to say swan on my screen would be Javier. Javier, you're at 2 points. Richard, you're at 1. Another round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess the balloon within 2 guesses will get a point on the scoreboard. A few more rounds and we're going to move on to some card games. First person to correctly guess what I have made. Slithers is not a sword. A lot of people don't like these. Some are venomous. It's not a frog. Doesn't have any arms. Not a worm. Worm would just be probably a 2. First person to correctly guess what I have made will get a point on the scoreboard. It is kind of weird, huh? Got a long body. Should have some fangs. Maybe if I draw on it. Slithers. Oh wow, I should not draw. A little weird, huh? Alright, nobody got it. It was a snake. Oh. Javier said it right before I typed in done, so I will give you the point as per the rules. Do you get it? I should probably say done next time first. Alright. We're going to play one more round, and then we're going to move on to the card games. One more round of Guess That Balloon. The first person to correctly guess the balloon will get a point on the scoreboard. 2 guesses are allowed. I knew it, but out of guesses, it's fair. First person to correctly guess what I have made will get a point on the scoreboard. 2 guesses per balloon per player. Dog is correct. That is a point for Richard. All right. Moving on to another game. We are going to play Tribond. Tribond is where I give you guys 3 things, and the first person telling me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have squash, beet, eggplant. I know, I really need to make more balloons. Sorry, guys. Squash, beet, eggplant. First person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Vegetables would be correct. Sorry, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Vegetables is correct. That is a point for Javier. I think moving forward, we're going to start with a different game on the stream. I should. Still got to learn a lot more. Well, thanks though. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have bamboo, barley, wheat. First person to tell me what bamboo, barley, and wheat have in common. First person to tell me what bamboo, barley, and wheat have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. Types of grass or grain. I will give the point to grass. Javier, that is another point for you. You're at 5 points. Richard, you're at 2. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have yeast, mold, mildew. The first person to tell me what yeast, mold, and mildew have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. Beer is not correct. Wow, you guys both typed the same thing. That's funny. First person to tell me what yeast, mold, and mildew have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. You're allowed as many guesses as you want. One guess per comment. You guys did say that at the same time. I will put 10. I'll read it one more time and put 10 seconds. Fungus is correct. Fungus or fungi is correct. That is a point for Javier. Wow, like emoji for emoji, exact same. Two minds think alike. Heck yeah, two great minds think alike. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. The first person... Oh, that card's in the wrong spot. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have 8-ball, 9-ball, snooker. First person to tell me what 8-ball, 9-ball, and snooker have in common, we'll get a point on the scoreboard. Pool would be correct. That is a point for Javier. You are at 7. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have spaghetti, cranberry, soy. First person to tell me what spaghetti, cranberry, soy have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Sauce would be correct. That is a point for Richard Green. You are at 3 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have racer, boa, garter. First person to tell me what racer, boa, garter have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. You still got the point for the typo. First person, we're playing a round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what racer, boa, garter have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Snake would be correct. There are types of snakes. Point for Javier. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. I also thought it was gardener. First person to tell me what Watusi, Samba, and Mambo have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Watusi, Samba, and Mambo. A tricky one. This is a tricky one. First person to tell me what Watusi, Samba, and Mambo have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Dance would be correct. There are types of dances. That is a point for Richard Green. Richard, you are at 4 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. The alternator, the carburetor, the spark plugs. First person to tell me what the alternator, the carburetor, the spark plugs have in common. Car would be correct. They are parts of a car. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you were at 9 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Kelvin, Fahrenheit, and Celsius. The first person to tell me what Kelvin, Fahrenheit, and Celsius have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Temperature scales is the answer. I will give it to you, Richard, for saying temperature. Richard, you are at 5. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on this scoreboard. Rutabaga, rhubarb, radish. The first person to tell me what rutabaga, rhubarb, and radish have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Vegetable would be correct. That's another point for Richard Green. Richard, you got 6 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 2 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Birthday, get well, thank you. The first person to tell me what birthday, get well, and thank you have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Card would be correct. Birthday card, get well card, thank you card. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you're at 10 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon, where the first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Gas, fish, army. The first person to tell me what gas, fish, and army have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Duel. It is a 1v1 right now. I'm sure more will join. Tank would be correct. Gas tank, fish tank, army tank. That is a point for Richard. Richard, you're at 7 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Pacific, Central, Mountain. Oh, I knew the reference. First person to tell me what Pacific, Central, and Mountain have in common. They are time zones. I will give you the point for you, Javier, for time. Javier, you're at 11 points. Continuing on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. The pen, the joint, the slammer. First person to tell me what the pen, the joint, the slammer have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Jail would be correct. They are terms for a jail or prison. That is a point for Richard Green. Hey, Mike Tones, welcome back. Welcome back, Richard. You're at 8 points. Mike Tones, welcome back. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have snow, swimming, sweat. First person to tell me what snow, swimming, sweat have in common? It is not water. Another one you could add to this would be wet. So snow, swimming, sweat. You could add wet. First person to tell me what these 4 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. I'll give another one. First person to tell me what these have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Snow, swimming, sweat, wet, formal, I think, yeah. Wedding, business, snow, swimming, sweat, wet, formal, wedding, business. This one's stumping you guys. I'll put 10 seconds on the clock after I read it. First person to tell me what these things have in common, I'll get a point on the scoreboard. Snow, swimming, sweat, wet, formal, business. 10 seconds on the clock. When nobody gets it, nobody gets the point. The answer was suit. Snowsuit, swimming suit, sweatsuit, wetsuit, formal suit, business suit. Suit was it. Wow. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's that was a good one. That was a good one. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have rock, pop, blues. First person to tell me what rock, pop, and blues have in common. Now we know. First person to tell me what rock, pop, and blues have in common. I'll get a point on the scoreboard. Yoshi, welcome back. Music is correct. Welcome back, Yoshi. That is a point for Javier. Javier, you are at 12 points. Richard, you're at 8 points. Nobody's in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. I'm sure somebody will come up. We're going to move on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have Red Dwarf, Super Giant, Blue Dwarf. First person to tell me what these 3 things have in common. I'm going to point on the scoreboard. Red Dwarf, Super Giant, Blue Dwarf. Planets is close. Planets is close. Red Dwarf, Super Giant, Blue Dwarf. Hey, Yoshi, it's good to see you back. Good to see you back. Moon is not correct. Sun's not correct. Sun's is close. You guys are so close. I don't know how many other rocks in the star you can name without getting it right. Star would be correct, and I was Googling as well. That is a point for Javier. To be honest, I don't know much about space, so you guys probably could have kept naming rocks in the sky, and I don't think I would have gotten this one. Yeah, this is a tough card. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Hey, Mike, I feel that I was lagging last night. First person to tell me what the balance beam, horse vault, floor exercises have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Oh, interesting. Gymnasts would be close enough. There are events in gymnastics. I'll give it to you for gymnast, Mike Tones. Mike Tones, welcome to the scoreboard. As a former champion, you are entered in as red. Mike Tones. 1 point. Richard Green. 8 points. Javier, 13 points. I have to redraw your points because that is hard to keep track of. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Surprise, search, slumber. First person to tell me what surprise, search, and slumber have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Party would be correct. That's a point for Javier. Javier, you are at 14 points. Mike, haven't been exhausted in a while. Well, I hope you get some rest for the next game show we've got. Hopefully tomorrow. I'm not doing another one tonight. It's getting pretty late, but hopefully tomorrow I will be doing a couple. Moving on to another round of Tribond, where I give you guys 3 things. First person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Spadefoot toad, Japanese giant salamander, gray bat. Mike, I feel honored. It is not a reptile that you've had a long day and you decided to wind down with this game show. Cave is not correct. Animals is close. This one might be tricky. I can put the white rhino in here. Carved face. Oh, that's the wrong one. Spadefoot toad, Japanese giant salamander, gray bat, white rhino. Exotic animals is close. I'll give you a hint. If there was one pterodactyl alive, or one of any dinosaur alive, or one of any species endangered would be correct. Point for Javier. You're at 15. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have kidney, black, lima. First person to tell me what kidney, black, and lima have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Let's go. Bean is correct. Let's go. Mike Tones getting the point for beans. You're at 2 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have a bowling alley, a basketball court, a highway. First person to tell me what a bowling alley, a basketball court, and a highway have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Lanes would be correct. That is a point for Mike Tones. You're at 3 points. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to tell me what War, Crazy Eights, and Snap have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. War, Crazy Eights, Snap. Card games is correct. That is a point for Mike Tones. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have dirt, country, yellow brick. Dirt, country, yellow brick. Road is correct. Dirt road, country road, yellow brick road. Mike Jones with the point. Mike, you're at 5. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these 3 things have in common will get a point on the scoreboard. We have French, Eskimo, Hershey's. First person to tell me what French, Eskimo, and Hershey's has in common will get a point on the scoreboard. Kiss would be correct. There are types of kisses. French kiss, Eskimo kiss, Hershey's kiss. That is a point for Javier. Moving on to another round of Tribe on the first person. To tell me what these three things have in common, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. Eskimo kiss is wild work. Eskimo anything is wild work. Eskimo anything. Moving on to another round of Tribe on the first person. Tell me what these three things have in common, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. We have pencil thin handlebar soup strainer. Pencil thin handlebar soup strainer. Mustache should be correct. That is a point for Javier. You're at 17. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. We have stone, vine, citrus. Fruit would be correct. That is a point for Richard Green. Moving on to another round of Tribon. The first person to tell me what these three things have in common. We'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have... I'm just going to do it. I'm curious. First person to tell me what these three things have in common, I'm going to point on the scoreboard. Lather, rinse, repeat. Lather, rinse, repeat. This one's so weird. I can't believe that it's on this card. You guys are close. Lather, rinse, repeat. I'll give it to you for shampoo. The answer was shampoo directions, but I'll give it to you for shampoo. That's close enough. I can't. That was a weird one. I don't feel like that one so much fits in this game. Mike, you get the point for saying shampoo first. Moving on to another round of Tribe on the first person. Tell me what these three things have in common. I'll get a point on the scoreboard. We have a violin, a river, a bottle. I don't think anyone would get that, to be honest. That one was a little... I think that was a little too far off from the core mechanics of the game. Overall, though, I think Tribon is awesome. Moving on... Oh, sorry. I'll repeat it. A violin, a river, a bottle. Neck would be correct. That is a point for Richard. Almost said Javier. No, yeah, it was Richard. Richard, you're at 10. Moving on to another round. Actually, we're going to move on to another game. We're going to move on to another game. The first person to tell me... The first person to tell me some... We're going to play that game I don't have a name for yet. The first person to tell me something you shouldn't do at a funeral that starts with the letter P. We'll get a point. The first person to tell me something you shouldn't do at a funeral that starts with the letter P. Protest! I'll give it to you, Richard. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's funny. Hey, James M., welcome back. Pickle eggs pass out. Great answers, Richard. Party. Yeah, you shouldn't party at a funeral. Well, I don't know. Celebration of life. I guess it depends on how hard you party, right? Richard gets the point for protest. Oh, man. That was good. I loved all you guys' answers. Depends on the funeral. Yeah, some people, there's the celebration of life. But if you're the only one partying at a funeral, you definitely shouldn't be doing that. After party, I've never... Yeah, I agree, Mike. Funerals are usually somber occasions. Richard, I've never been to a funeral after party. I've been to after parties for so many things, but I've never been to a funeral after party. Man. Oof. Pre-game. Oh my god. I love this. This is fun. This is fun. James, I'm glad you came back as the most recent introduction into the Hall of Champions. Good to see you. Good to see you. Moving on to the next round. The first person to give me a human male name that starts with a J gets a point on the scoreboard. A boy's name that starts with J. Yeah, I realized as soon as I said J that there was James. And that's why I kind of facepalmed a little bt. Well, Mike Tones, you get the point. That was funny. Javier Goat, man. Mike Tones, you're at 7. The first person to give me a girl's name that starts with the letter H will get a point on the scoreboard. Hey, Evan Lane, welcome back to the show. Welcome back. Good to see you. First person to give me a girl's name that starts with the letter H. Heather. Mike Tones, you're going to get the point for Heather. You're at 8 points. Hannah, that was close. You were as close second. The first person to give me a type of bread that starts with the letter B will get a point on the scoreboard. Brown bread. Googled it. There. Mike, you get the point. You're at 9. Yeah, I Googled it. You got it. You got it on that one. The first person to name a pastry that starts with the letter P. Just a pastry that starts with the letter P. You'll get a point on the scoreboard. Yeah, pie is a pastry. All right, Evan. Evan, that point goes to you. Evan, welcome back. Welcome to the scoreboard. You are currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions with no competition. However, the stream is young. Evan Lane, welcome to the scoreboard. It's good to see somebody who will be competing into the Hall of Champions. But the stream is still young. The stream is still young. Oh, yes. Thank you for playing. Yes, we have about an hour and 20 minutes-ish. Moving on to another round. The first person to name a bug that starts with the letter L will get a point on the scoreboard. First person to name a bug. I will give the point to Lice. James M., you got the point. Oh, James. That was a good one. I agree, Mike. That was a good one. James M., welcome to the scoreboard. And you are now entered in the scoreboard as pink since you are a champion, the most recent introduction to the Hall of Champions. Welcome, James M. Alright, moving on to another round. Huh. The first person to name something you shouldn't do at a job interview that starts with the letter D will get a point on the scoreboard. Name something you should not do at a job interview that starts with the letter D. Die! I agree. I'll give it to you for die, Javier. Drink, defecate. Oh my God, these answers are great. Javier said die first. I agree. You should not die at a job interview. Although maybe they'll use it as a mascot because you're clearly dedicated. That was great. I love these answers. Oh my God. It was an intrusive answer. Oh no. Send help. Oh no. Name something you chew that starts with the letter P. Alright, Mike Tones, I hope you get some rest and I hope you're well rested for the next game show tomorrow. You do chew peas. Popsicle was a close second. Evan Peanut a close third. But yep, you chew peas. Point for Richard. Mike, I hope you get some rest. Come back well rested. Richard Green got the point. Peanut and pickles, you definitely chew them. Name an animal you can own as a pet that starts with the letter L. Just quick break. You can wait a few minutes. Awesome. Mike Tones, the point for Lizard. Mr. Random, I do remember you. Welcome back. Mike Tones, you're going to get the point for Lizard. Mike Tones, you're at 10 points. Welcome back, Mr. Random. Mr. Random, you're currently not in the Hall of Fame, which means you have not. You've never been here? Oh, I see Random Things on the Hall of Fame is 88. I was about to ask you if you changed your name, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure I remember a very, very similar username to you, which, you know, we've got a lot of people who have popped in. I think you've, well, if you haven't, welcome. This is a live game show where I host and keep score while you play by commenting. We're moving on to another round. A lot of similar usernames, but either way, I'm actually the official beekeeper. I changed my name. I've never been here, but you have. All right, well, welcome. No, do not call yourself that. Moving on to another round of the game that I have no name for. The first person to name something you can buy at a grocery store that starts with the letter R. First person to name something you can buy at a grocery store that starts with the letter R. Mindful discomfort. Reese's would be correct. I'll give a point for Javier. Well, Mr. Random, don't think you're done. Mindful discovery. This game show, you can learn a lot here. As long as you're always learning through life. Besides, what do any of us know when we're born? When we're 10, when we're 20, when we're 30? You're learning all the time. You're always taking in knowledge. So, continue on learning. Oh, awesome. This fireworks for you. Also, even if you're the smartest person in the world, you still can't know everything. Even if you take the top million people, you take any million people in the world, they can't know everything. They still can't know everything about the world. In fact, us as a society only even know roughly 4 or 5% of what's even in the ocean? I mean, like, can't know everything, bro. Keep coming back, keep learning, keep having fun, read some books, meet new people. Ooh. Yeah, the weatherman's never right. That's the one career you can have that you can be wrong 100% of the time for 40 years and still get paid. Moving on back onto the game. The first person to name something you wear, starting with the letter C, will get a point on the scoreboard. Clothes. I will give it to you, Mike Tones. Clothes. Moving on to another round. Crocs was a close second. And then everybody else said coat. Ooh, these are a lot of bad cards in a row. Ah, this is a fun one. First person to name a gift you should never give somebody, starting with the letter M. A gift you should never give somebody. Mouse, a monkey, measles? I'm gonna give it to Mouse. Mouse was first. I agree, you should not ever give a pet to somebody as a gift if they don't know that they're getting it, because it's not fair to give a living creature and a responsibility to someone as a gift. I don't think a fair gift is a responsibility, unless they wanted it. If they wanted it, that's fair. Mike Tones with Mouse. But I would agree, a pet is a bad surprise gift. But of course, like I said, if they've asked for it, that's probably good. Ooh. Oh. Name something you would never want to put on a sandwich that starts with the letter F. And dogs aren't just for Christmas, that's true. Name something you wouldn't want to put on a sandwich that starts with the letter F. I'm going to give it to fleas. I'm not going to give it to fish because fish sandwich is a normal thing across the world. Fish sandwiches are normal, so I'm going to disagree with that one. So I'm going to give it to fleas for Mike Tones. Which, don't feel bad about your guys' answers, because you're supposed to think of it as fast as possible, which makes the game very, very fun as well, because of all the goofy things that are said. Fertilizer on a Sam feather. Oh my god. I don't know. Oh, frogs. Frogs on a sandwich. I don't. Oof. Oof. Name something you would find in an office that starts with the letter H. Something you would find in an office. I'm sure someone considers frog sandwiches a delicacy. That's fair. Oh yeah. How was that? How was that chicken, Richard? Hair. Evan, you would find hair in an office. I'll give it to you, Evan. You're at 2 points in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. You could find a ham sandwich, a hat, a hook, hardware, ham. You could find all of this in an office. There's a lot of things. You guys could have named almost anything. Really, these were good guesses. That was a broad one. That was a good one. Name something you would find in a furniture store that starts with an L. Nice. It's nice to meal prep. Lamp would be correct. As a point for Mike Jones. This one's really fun. You're too late. That's okay, Mr. Random. Sometimes people's internet connections change, and you might have a better connection another time, or you might connect better later, or sometimes you just get faster. You like this one too? I'm glad you guys like this. I'm really enjoying this game. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Ooh. Name something you would hate to find under your bed that starts with the letter M. Monster, I'll give it to you, Mike Jones. Name a vegetable that starts with a P. First person to name a vegetable that starts with a P. Yeah, we can do some Battleship later. Technically, peas. I'm reading this. Green peas are not vegetables. Going on to the next one. Parsnip. Guys, I'm just Googling it. Parsnips are a root vegetable. Giving it to you. That is a point for Richard Green. Where are you, Richard Green? There you go. You got 13 points. We got a couple more minutes for the break. Couple more minutes until the break. Moving on to another round. Interesting. Yeah, I had just Googled it with the peas. I Googled it, and it said, like, for the peas, I had Googled it. It said, technically, peas are not vegetables, but are instead classified as a fruit. However, most people refer to them as vegetables and treat them as such in cooking. Peas are the small, edible seeds of the legume plant Pisum sativum. This is part of the same family as lentils, chickpeas, beans, and peanuts. The USDA groups peas with starchy vegetables when they are not dried before eating. Ooh! There's a technicality. Okay, who did I give that to? I gave it to for parsnip, but it just depends on who you ask. And if there's a yes anywhere, then that's good enough. Sorry, Richard, I'm going to have to transfer your point to Mike Jones. Thank you for arguing. This is... Oh yeah, no, I took it back. I was looking further into it. I was reading it out loud. Yeah, I was reading what I was. I'm gonna admit though, I'm using that reading the AI overview on Google as well. But if someone's gonna say yes, I'm gonna give the point to you. A yes is a yes. So Fair, fun, and friendly are the three key components of this game show. Fair, fun, and friendly. So, Mike, you did get the point for peas. Wickle pickles, that sounds interesting. Name something you would hate to find in your bathroom that starts with the letter L. I don't know if this is going to be a good one. We'll see. A lobster! Oh. That was a good one. I would also... Oh my god, these are all great answers. Okay, I'll give it to you, Javier, for lobster. I would also hate to find a lobster in my bathroom. Oh my god. Oh my. That was... Alright, I really like this game. I'm going to keep the battleship out over here just so that way I remember to do it as per requested. Perfect. It's already set up. I've got pegs right here. We're going to go ahead and start the break soon. How the break works, we do take a 5-minute break. We take a 5-minute break. At the start of the gong, the 5 minutes has begun. When you hear the air horn, the 5 minutes is over. Lobster in the toilet. Yeah. I will be back in 5 minutes from now. The break begins now. Hey, it's Shannon. I host the games that keep score while you play them by commentary. If you would like to support the channel and enter the Hall of Supporters, my Cash App is Shannon1742. My PayPal and Venmo are mindfuldiscovery@yahoo.com. These should be pinned in the comments. If you are interested in any of the games played on this show or the props used, I have affiliate links in the description. I earn a commission for each product bought at no extra cost to you. Another way you can show support is by purchasing my book, Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games. This is a book on learning the rules for 52 solitaire-type card games with various levels of difficulties, chance, and skill. I wrote detailed instructions for new and experienced players to be able to learn these games, along with setup pictures for examples. Beyond Solitaire, 52 Unique One-Player Games is available on Amazon as a paperback book and on the Kindle store. It is also enrolled in the Kindle Unlimited program. We have a minute left in the break. Who will enter the Hall of Champions tonight? The three key principles for this game show. We want to be fair, we want to have fun, and we want to be friendly. I personally want to thank this community and everyone in the Hall of Fame for helping develop this positive game show experience. Alright, we're back. How much subs do y'all got? I have 507. Oh, Richard. What kind of job are you starting? You work with bees? That's awesome. We'll get started briefly. That does sound like it could be hard. That does. Sounds like a lot of go, go, go. Oh, that's awesome that you get to keep some. All right, we're going to get back to it. Caught up comps a little bit. All right, we're going to continue on. The first person to name something you wouldn't want to find in the woods alone at night. Name something you wouldn't want to find in a forest alone at night. Oh, I didn't even give you a letter. I'm so sorry. I didn't even give you guys a letter. I would just give you would not want to find a tick. I'll give you the point. I did not give a letter. Evan, I will give you the point for that because you guys just, that's fine. Technical difficulties. I said half of it, but that kind of works too, though, you know. But I like the letter because of the challenge. All right, we're gonna try that one again. Name something you don't want to find in a forest at night that starts with a C. Another point, another round. Name something you don't want to find in a forest at night that starts with a C. I'll give it to you with cat. Mike Tones. If you find a big enough cat, I'd be scared. All right. Continuing on, that was good. Name something you can't flush down a toilet that starts with an F. You can flush food. You can flush fish. I don't think you can flush a fox down a toilet. So I'm going to give it to Mike Tones. You can't flush a fan, Mr. Random. You were close. You can flush food. You can flush fish. I'm going to give it to Mike for fox. I do believe you cannot flush a fox down a toilet. You have to be very dedicated or a maniac. Name a reason you'd be late to work that starts with a B. I'm actually going to give it to beans because I'm trying to justify it. You could have beans. They give you a lot of gas, and sometimes when you force gas out, you could poop your pants, and you would be late to work with that. So I will give it to beans because this is a game where you have to justify your answers, and I can find that one easily justifiable. So I will give it to you for beans. I will give it to you for beans. Mr. Random, welcome to the scoreboard. Mr. Random, this looks like this is your first time earning a point on this game show, which means congratulations, you'll be entered into the Hall of Fame, or once you enter, you never leave. Do you want to be entered as Mr. Random or the official beekeeper? It's up to you. For now, I'll put Mr. Random. I can always update it. You're right. Name a reason you could get fired from a job that starts with an F. Call the game justifiable blank. I like that. I like that. Farting. I like how many of you guys said farting. How could you get fired from a job for farting? Can you get... Man, I'm going to have to give it to the beans as well. I'm going to give it to you for farting for the same concept as beans. Because if you fart a little bit too much, you could poop your pants at the worst times. And boy, oh boy, you truly could make some mistakes there. So I will give it, I could come up with a lot of scenarios. I'm not going to for that. Depends on the level of professional. It also depends on what you're doing, man. If you're farting and you poop your pants, or you're supposed to be doing something really... I mean, imagine if you're in the middle of a surgery and you just went. What do you keep doing the surgery, or do you keep... Someone said beans for tea. All right, I'll give it to you guys for farting. Mike, get the point. What a horrible way to lose your job. What a horrible way. Horrible way to lose your job. Oh, this is fun. Give me a reason. Give me a reason you could be arrested that starts with the letter C. I'm glad you guys like this. I'm having a lot of fun. Give me a reason you could be arrested that starts with the letter C. Chase. I'm going to give the point to Mike. Because if you run away from a cop, you will, if they get you, you'll get arrested. Mike, you get it for chase. Name something you shouldn't do before bed that starts with the letter B. Name something you shouldn't do before bed that starts with the letter B. Beans. I'm not drinking any more bees tonight, guys, because I think I've just learned that beans can ruin more situations in life than anything else just tonight. Beans it is. Mike Tones. God, guys. Today I have learned beans can ruin life in many, many ways. In many, many ways. It can ruin many days. It can ruin many things. We're not using B anymore tonight. Because I think you guys could probably say beans at anything. It's been too perfect. Oh my god, this is great. Don't tell the doctor. Yeah. Name something that would put you in the ER, in the emergencies room. Okay. Name something that would have to make you go to the hospital that starts with the letter F. Food would be correct. I'll give that a point to Javier. Food poisoning definitely happened. Farting, guys. Oh my god. Alright. Until you guys forget about beans and farting, I'm gonna have to remember not to do B or F tonight. This is good. This is good. This is good. Farting would apply somehow. It's the same stuff with the beans. I know. I'm gonna have to burn through the whole alphabet at this point. Oh my god. This is funny. Name something you shouldn't do while driving that starts with the letter A. I'll give it to you, Mike. You should not do alcohol while driving. That was a good one. Name something you would be scared to find in the trunk of your car that starts with the letter L. Name something that you would be scared to find in the trunk of your car. A laser? I don't think I would be scared to find a laser in my car. A lady! I'm going to give it to you, Richard. I would be scared to find a lady in my car. I'd say about any animal in my trunk could be scared to find. Name something that would make your boyfriend or girlfriend break up with you that starts with the letter P. People. People can ruin things. Give it to Javier. Partying. Yeah. Yep. Nope, that could ruin it too. You never know. Nothing to be sorry about. That's the fun of the game. What is something you would want a picture of that starts with the letter M? Name something you would want a picture of that starts with the letter M. I'll give it to Mom. Mike Tones. Me. Like Richard's answer. Me. Monster. Oh, I'd want a picture of a monster. Name something that can make a boat. What could make a boat sink? Yeah, how about what could make a boat sink that starts with the letter D? What could make a boat sink that starts with the letter D? A dam would definitely do that. If you smash into a dam, that would do it. Point for Javier. Dynamite. Yeah, I would do it. A dog. Oh, they could. Name something you would hate to find in your food that starts with the letter N. What would you hate to find in your food? Starts with the letter N. A needle. I'd agree with that. Ah, the air. Get that point. Oh yeah, I forgot Nat does start with a G. Name something that can... What can hurt you that starts with the letter T? What can hurt you that starts with the letter T? Oh, it's T. Teeth can hurt you. Oh, sorry if that sounded like D. I have my AC on because it's hot. Oh, wow. I see half of you heard D, half of you heard T. I'll go ahead and turn the AC unit off next to me so that way you guys can hear me a little bit better. But I did say T. My bad. My apologies on that. Honestly, half... Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it to teeth. Well, actually, half of you guys heard T, half of you guys heard D, so I'm going to give one to dog and teeth. I'll give you guys both a point. Give a point to Mike for D and Javier for T. Mike, you got the point there. Sorry if I didn't pronounce it correctly. Or enunciate, whatever the word is, correctly. Moving on to another one. It used to be you that goes by. My bad. What would scare you if you found it on a plane that starts with the letter G? That makes sense, Mike. Gun would be... I gotta be honest, I don't think a goat would scare me on a plane. I would be very amused if I saw a goat on the plane. A giraffe would scare me on a plane a little bit, I think. I'd be amused, but I'd be like, things weigh a lot. I'm gonna give it to gun for Javier. That would definitely scare me on a plane. It sounded like I was about to start singing. I was not. Your girlfriend? Oh, man. What the heck? Name an animal that can't swim, starting with a B. Despite their large build, bears are expert swimmers. Polar bear had popped up in my mind. That surprised me. Honeybees are not strong swimmers and generally avoid getting their feet wet. Oh, this is an AI overview and it's wrong. I'm doing another one. Bees are unable to swim. That makes more sense to me. I started reading the AI thing. I'm like, that sounds not right. Bees are unable to swing. I will give it to bees. I will give it to bees. Wait for Javier. Name an animal that can eat you that starts with A. That starts with A. Name an animal that can eat you that starts with A. Name an animal that could eat you that starts with an A. Alligator can definitely eat you. Give that point to you, Richard. I'm going to go ahead and read the scores. We got about half an hour left. Javier, you have 27. Richard, you have 14. Mike Tones, 24. James M, 1. Amongst the two people currently competing to enter the Hall of Champions, Mr. Random has 1. Evan Lane has 3. Moving on, we're going to continue. It is a close game between Evan and Mr. Random. It is a close game. It is still anybody's game. Battleship. We can do Battleship. We can do Battleship. All right. So we are going to play Battleship. Mr. Random said I should have gotten it. The B one? Yeah, that's fair. All right, guys, we're going to play Battleship. You can start doing your guesses when you hear the ding, ding, ding. Do not start before that. Oh, oops. How Battleship works is I have a bunch of ships hidden on my Battleship board. This is a 10 by 10 grid. What you guys have to do is pair a letter with a number to determine where I've hidden my... You guys are guessing where I hid my ships by pairing a letter with a number. The grid is... Okay, I guess I don't have that right now. All right. The rows are lettered from top to bottom, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. The columns are numbered from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You must pair a letter with a number, guessing where I hid my battleship. For example, you could say A1 or J10. You are allowed as many guesses as you would like, 1 guess per comment. Go ahead and begin. The first person to hit the part of the ship will get a point. Many points can be handed out. Only the first person to hit that part of the ship will get the point. You could say A1, you could say J10, you could say G10, you could say G1. Pair a letter with a number, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, or J, with a number between 1 and 10. All right, time is up. I'm only accepting the answers above done on my screen. Only accepting answers above done. All right, we have A7, miss, A5, miss, A2, hit. There's a point for Mr. Random. J6, miss, A4, hit. That is a point for Richard Green. B5, miss, C5, hit. That is a point for Javier. I don't know if I gave the point to Richard. I don't know if I gave you your point. Let me know in the comments if I gave you your point for A4. All right, continuing on H5, and I'll check it after at the end. H5, miss, A3, hit and sink. There's no extra points for sinking a ship. I just let you know. That is a point for Evan. Evan, you're at 4. Mr. Random, you're at 2. Continuing on. D6, miss. G6, miss. D5, miss. F4, miss. H5, miss. C3, hit. That is a point for Mr. Random. Mr. Random, you're at 3. E5, hit. That is a point for Javier. Oh. I haven't been battleshipping a little bit. Gotta remember to give the points. F5, miss. G4, miss. D3, miss. G2, miss. I6, miss. J7, miss. C2, miss. H8, miss. I5, miss. J6, miss. B1, miss. B9, miss. H4, hit. That is a point for Mr. Random. Mr. Random, you are at 4 points. Mr. Random and Evan Lane, you guys are currently tied with a little less than half an hour on the board. Tied for entering the Hall of Champions. Close game. C4, hit. That is a point for Javier. H7, hit. That is a point for Richard Green. A7, miss. A7, miss. B7, miss. B7 again, miss. All other answers are below when I said done. All right, Richard, I'm going to give you that extra point because I did call it out earlier that I might have forgot it, and so thank you for letting me know. Sometimes I do that. All right. Oh, man. Those are some good hits. Now we have a tied game for entering all the champions. Evan Lane at 4, Mr. Random at 4. We are tied. We have a tie. Now we still have about 26 minutes till it is announced. I'm going to go ahead and read all the scores. Javier, you're at 29. Richard, you're at 16. Mike Tones, 24. James M, 1. Now, amongst everyone else competing into the Hall of Champions, we have Evan Lane, 4. Mr. Random, 4. All right. We are going to continue on. We are going to do a... Actually, what game do you guys want to play? I will let you guys decide. What game do you want to play? First person to tell me, I will play it. Password it is. Yeah, you guys really like Password, huh? Okay, cool. We are going to move on to Password. This is where I give the first person to guess my one-word password. Based off the clues and the hints that I gave, we'll get points on the scoreboard. First person to guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Universe is... Oh, sorry, I was reading the... Okay, I'm not doing that one. It's, okay, my bad. Technical difficulties. I read the answer before any of the clues or hints. We're just going to go ahead and skip that one. Skip that whole card. My bad. Moving on. We're going to universe. You do not get it, dude. Even though you're correct, I'm not giving you the point on that one. Oh, my God. Another stack of these. There we go. I have another stack right here. Ooh, all right. We're going to play a round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. If you work for a police department, one of the roles you could be promoted into is a blank. This role is somebody who investigates crimes on a deeper level than just a normal. Hey, Private Dog, welcome to this live game show where I host the games. Detective is correct. Where I host the games and keep score. You play by commenting. Robert Hunley, welcome back. Detective is correct. First person on my screen to spell right was Javier. This is the only game where typos matter. This is the only game, Javier. You have another point. Robert Hunley, welcome back. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. You must letter by letter have my password. There are two main superhero worlds, DC and blank, I think. Marvel is correct. I don't watch TV, but I was pretty sure that was good. All right, first person on my screen who said Marvel would be Javier. Private Dog, welcome to the game show. We play multiple different games. Bro, looks like he needs a head massage. Ah. Thanks. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. This is the only game. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. This is a retro place you could go to play video games at in person. They're usually on these big screens. They're not as common anymore since consoles came out. Arcade would be correct. Hey, Paki Rahu, welcome back. On my screen, Javier said arcade first. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I get without any typos, capitalization does not matter. Get a points on the scoreboard. We have about 25 and a half minutes left till the champion is announced. Currently, we have Evan Lane and Mr. Random tied at 4 points for entering the Hall of Champions. Moving on. First person to correctly guess my one-word password, we get a point on the scoreboard. This is a yellow fruit that is rather sour, and it's very closely related to a lime, but it's not as sour as a lime. Lemon would be correct. That is a point for my tones. Paki Rahu, you're a close second on my screen. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I gave will get a point on the scoreboard. If a couple cannot have kids, they may need to blank from an orphanage. Adopt would be correct. That is a point for Paki Rahu. Paki Rahu, welcome back to the stream and welcome to the scoreboard. We now have 3 people competing to enter the Hall of Champions. This is why I say I do not announce it until it is done. I do not announce it until it is done. Evan, what do you mean you're too slow? You are tied for first. Mr. Random also said you're way too slow. You guys are tied for first for entering the Hall of Champions. How can you guys say that when you're tied for first? You guys don't realize the few champions on the board have been dominating on this game for weeks. You're not even competing with them. You guys are just, it's only Evan, Mr. Random, and Paki Rahu competing into the Hall of Champions. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. What do you use to unclog a toilet? First person to tell me without any typos. What do you use to unclog a toilet? These are one word. No typos. Plunger would be correct. You guys had all said that so close to each other that I'm just going to pop out my chat and show you guys. I know it wasn't requested, but for anybody new here, or just in case you guys had all said plunger, like it literally on my screen went do. So I'm sure on many of you guys' screens, it shows that you guys got it first, and I am just going to pull up my screen because somebody's now in first place. Mike Jones spelled it wrong, and this is no typos in password. Mr. Random spelled plunger correct first. Mr. Random, you're currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions, but it's still not announced until the game's over. Congratulations, but don't get comfortable. Don't get comfortable. All right, the game's not over till it's over. Moving on to another round of password. This is where I give you guys clues and hints to my one-word password. The first person to get it correct will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are not allowed. Capitalization does not matter. This is a nut that is used to make milk. It is used in candies. It's got a weird oval shape, almost like a football, but not really. Almond would be correct. That is a point for Javier. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correctly guess my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you call the large area of grass, especially where, say, sporting events are taking place, or picnics, or parks are filled with these. It's a singular word, not a plural. Field would be correct. That is a point for Mike Jones. Well, Evan Lane, have a good night. Have a good night, Evan. It was a very close game, Evan, and it's not over for 15 more minutes, but I hope to see you back another time. I know you just joined the I almost said podcast, the game show right before I went on vacation. I hope to see you back another time. Maybe your internet connection will be a little better, be a little faster. Mr. Random, you're currently in the lead for entering the Hall of Champions. However, we still have 15 minutes, and Paki Rahu is still here. Yeah, I'm also getting really tired. I am also getting really tired. Moving on to another round of password. The first person to correct, I guess, my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I give will get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you call the ruler, the male ruler of a country. The male ruler of a country. King would be correct. That is a point for Javier. We're going to move on to another round of password. The first person to correct, I guess, my one-word password will get a point on the scoreboard. This is a nut that many people have an allergy to. Butter is made out of this. Peanut is correct. That is a point for Mike Tones. Point for Mike Tones. Moving on to another round of password. First person to correct, I guess, my password based off the clues and the hints that I give without any typos. Get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you can call a friendly enemy in a sense. This is a word for a friendly enemy where it's like it's your enemy, but it's not really your enemy. Schools, neighboring schools could be called this frenemy. Guys, so many people just said frenemy. Oh no, it's not that. That's funny. Like say you're having a football game against your rival schools or something, or like a rival. Yeah. I just Googled the definition of rival because I was curious. A person or thing competing with another for the same objective or for superiority in the same field or of activity. So it's like an enemy, kind of. Rival would be correct. First person who said rival on my screen would be Javier. All right. Oh. Moving on to moving on to another round of password. First person to correct, I guess, my one-word password based off the clues and the hints that I gave will get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you call somebody who watches sports in like a stadium. They are a blank, singular, not plural. This is somebody who's just watching. Might not always be a sport, but it's just somebody who's watching. Usually a live event, usually a sport. Spectator is correct. That is a point for Mike Tones. All right, we're going to move on to Family Feud. We're going to move on to Family Feud. Up to five points can be handed out this round in Family Feud. You're allowed one guess per comment, as many comments as you would like, until I say done and give the good old buzzer. Name something people must be legally old enough to do. Up to 5 points can be handed out. Name something people must be legally old enough to do. Yo. Hey, Legal Toast, good luck with your first day of school tomorrow. And we're going to stop it right there. Oh, you said Robert got that one? Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. I see. Robert did get that one. Because you guys don't have pictures, I just saw the little gray picture and the M. I should have realized there was the difference between an M and an R. My apologies on that one. Robert, you did get that one. Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. Robert, you did get that one. I just quickly saw the gray circle and assumed it was Mike. I apologize. That is my mistake. I'll be more mindful. Robert, welcome to the scoreboard. And as a former champion, you do enter as pink. I appreciate, Mike. I really appreciate you pointing that out. And sorry about that, Robert. Robert is a returning champion, so he's entered in as pink. So we currently have Evan Lane, Mr. Random, and Paki Rahu competing to enter. All right, I'm going to go back to reading the answers. All right. Drive is on here. That is a point for Paki Rahu. You're at 2. Shoot guns is not on here. Drink is on here. That is another point for Paki Rahu. You're at 3. Catching up. So drink and drive were given. Smoke is on here. That is a point for Javier. You're at 36. Lottery. Gamble is on here, so I'm going to give the point to you, Mr. Random. You're at 6 points. All right, moving on. Thank you guys, yes, for the FFF. Thank you for keeping it fair, fun, and friendly. You prefer your nickname Fearsome Buffalo. All right, Legal Toast, I'll put you as Fearsome Buffalo if you get a point on the scoreboard. We're going to move on to Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this word based off the clues and the hints that I gave will get a point on the scoreboard. Typos are okay. First person to correctly guess this word will get a point on the scoreboard. There's always going to be one word. Thank goodness. Ooh. These are huge things in fields with like 3 blades that produce electricity. They're absolutely massive. Windmill is correct. Point for Javier. Oh, I gotta move your previous point. It's too close to the other ones. Okay. Moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess what this word I'm giving hints for will get a point on the scoreboard. Some people dive off of these. This is kind of like the edge of a mountain. You could dive off of it. They're usually pretty steep. You could dive off into water. Cliff would be correct. Legal Toast, different people have different internet connections at different times. I'm going to give the point to Javier. Moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this will get a point on the scoreboard. This is somebody who's an assistant. This is what you would call an assistant. They typically take phone calls and do schedules. Sorry, you're bugging out, Legal Toast. Secretary is correct. That is a point from Mike Jones. Moving on to another round of Taboo. The first person to correctly guess this will get a point on the scoreboard. That's U.S. specific. Many people look up to these. Sometimes they're fictional. Sometimes there's not. Many people's dads are this. Also, Superman is this. My dad is not this. Hero would be correct. All right. Legal Toast, you got it. And I'm going to go back a little bit. You prefer your nickname Fearsome Buffalo. Legal Toast, welcome to the scoreboard. All right. And I do believe, Legal Toast, I think I've seen you on here before, but I do believe that this is the first time you have earned a point on this game show, which means congratulations. I will be entering your name into the Hall of Fame, where once you enter, you never leave. You'll be entered as Legal Toast and Fearsome Buffalo on one line. Continuing on. We have just a couple minutes left. The first person to correctly guess this word that I'm describing will get a point on the scoreboard. This is what you call a baby cat. Kitten is correct. That is a point for Mike Jones. This is the three-letter word for the meat of a pig. Ham would be correct. That is a point for Mike Jones. Moving on to another round of Taboo. This is what you call a baby. Oh. This is another word for a baby when it's like just born, very young, before toddler. All it does before toddler, all it does is scream and poop. Infant is correct. That'd be a point for Mike Jones. Oh, wrong marker. Oh, I guess a newborn would have been. Yeah, I explained that slightly wrong. All right, this is two words. A lot of people will put money in a lot of kids, will put money in this, especially coins. It's in the shape of an animal. Piggy bank could be correct. That's a point for Mike Jones. We got another round. First person to correctly guess this word will get a point on the scoreboard. This is considered a spirit that has wings and a halo, often associated with heaven and good deeds. Angel would be correct. That is a point for Legal Toast. I will have you guys know that is time. That was the last one. That is time. I'm going to read the scores for the former champions first. Javier, 38 points. Richard Green, 16 points. Mike Tones, 32 points. James M, 1 point. Robert Hunley, 1 point. For everybody else competing to enter the Hall of Champions, Evan Lane, 4 points. Bucky Rahu, 3 points. Legal Toast, 2 points. Now, I'd like to announce the new winner. Coming in at first place with 6 points. And will be entering the Hall of Champions, Mr. Random. Congratulations, you are the new champion. Congratulations. That was great. Good job. Good job. Man, that was a close one, too. Mr. Random, do you want to be entered as Mr. Random or the official beekeeper? Mr. Random, congratulations for entering the Hall of Champion. Next time you play, your name will be entered as Pink. Mr. Random is fine. Guys, that was another great stream. That was another great stream. Stream tomorrow? I should be streaming tomorrow. I'm hoping to stream tomorrow a couple times. Had some obstacles I've been trying to work out for streaming every day, but I am trying to make it work. I'm gonna try to stream tomorrow. Congratulations again, Mr. Random, for entering the Hall of Champions. And Legal Toast and Mr. Random, you also both just joined the Hall of Fame for the first time. Legal Toast, wish you the best. Hope to see you back. Mr. Random, see you another time. Congratulations, you made the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Champions in one stream. I am super tired. Gotta make sure I add him to the Hall of Champions. Currently have 144 people in the Hall of Fame. That's pretty cool. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Yeah, I had to meet with somebody today. And I didn't know how long it would take, and it was very important. And so I wanted to give the guy enough time, and so I didn't want to have to cut him short. So as soon as I was done with that, I pretty much hopped on. Am I going to be introducing any more games this week? I would like to. I actually have a few games up there kind of waiting. There is that game I added today. Yeah, Justifiable Thoughts. Oh. Mike, that's a good name for it, Justifiable Thoughts. I like that. I'm gonna write that down. I don't have a name for it yet. I have like a couple other. Robert, have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. I do have a couple games on the shelf that I want to add in, and then I would like to make games as well for the stream. So a little bit of both. I'll probably be able to add another one in today. Yeah, I will definitely be playing around with it. Justifiable Thoughts, I'm definitely going to be playing around with that. Yeah. I've been writing down all the suggestions that I've gotten from you guys for that. Please, sir, can I have some more beans? We've learned today that beans can ruin your life in many ways and in many scenarios, a lot of scenarios. Actually, a really large amount of scenarios. Guys, I'm going to pop the balloons while I'm sitting here. No problem, Legal Toast. Welcome back. Have a good night, Mike. Beans on pizza? Richard, what is... I hope it's a Mexican pizza and it's not like a pepperoni pizza and you're just going to put some beans on it. Richard, do you guys put beans on pizza? Did you say earlier somebody puts beans in tea or something? What? Beans on pizza a thing? Like, it's a UK thing? Beans on pizza or beans inside of tea? Just cheese and beans in tea or on pizza? What are we talking? I need a clarification here. On pizza, cheese and beans. So you're telling me... Oh, yeah. Yeah, do you eat beans for breakfast, Richard? Yeah. Yeah, I'm so curious. Richard, do you eat... Some people eat beans on toast after everything we've learned today. We also just learned that in the UK, people risk their lives just by starting the day off with beans. You could lose your job. You could lose your spouse. You could just crash your car. You guys are living life on the edge of the toast right there. That is crazy. And you're putting it on pizza? I'm just glad you're not putting it in your tea. I think today I've learned beans might be more dangerous than peanuts. They're not, probably, but I've never met anyone allergic to beans, but... Bean, fart, ban. I could see beans being beans on top of toast being pretty good. I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to try that. Beans on toast. Sounds pretty good. Now that I think about it, I love toast. Javier and I spent like 20 minutes earlier talking about bread and toast. And that beans on top of toast would have fit so naturally in the conversation that we had earlier. Beans on toast, what the heck? I'll do butter too. I gotta try this. I gotta try it. I'm gonna go see if I have any beans. Actually, I don't order this late. I'm gonna have to try this. I like to try everything at least twice. That's my motto. Try everything twice. Ooh. Oh, I love to camp. Beans on cake sounds crazy, but beans on toast, I mean, you could put on, yeah, honestly, you could put like anything on toast. Now that I think about it, you really could. Javier, I am already subscribed to the channel, but thank you. Keep a straight face with that. All right, guys, I'm tired. I think I popped all the balloons. I'm sure there's some down here. Yeah, quite a few. Let me grab them real quick. Oh. All right. If you unsub and sub again, does that count? Oh my god, I don't know, but that's funny. Just for saying it, I'll give you a firework. Richard. Legal Toast, you said you're subbed. Here's another firework for you. Oh, it didn't go. How am I subscribed? I mean, I guess I'm technically not actually, but I was just joking. Bean firework. The closest thing I can do for bean firework would be these two sounds. All right, I'll see you in the next couple. I'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a good night. This has been another fun game show. This has been great. Thank you. I will be on tomorrow, I'm hoping. Hey, thanks again for joining, Richard. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're liking it. I'm glad you're liking it. So thank you so much for coming back as much as you have. This has been awesome. All right. You guys have a great night. I'm going to try my hardest to get on tomorrow. I should be able to. Thank you guys again. Congratulations again, Mr. Random, for entering the Hall of Champions.